Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, the top 10 prospects the Las Vegas Raiders should target with the 14th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft. My name is Mitchell Renz. I'm the host of this show, and today I'm going to give you the top 5 options on offense, top 5 options on defense. Why? The Las Vegas Raiders traded away Maxx Crosby on Friday night. We got the 14th overall pick from the Baltimore Ravens, and I know this. I have been wondering myself as a Raiders fan, and this is how I do this show. If I'm wondering something, I think other people are thinking the exact same thing. So, who Klint Kubiak, who John Spytek are ultimately going to take with that number 14 overall pick, and as it stands right now, the Las Vegas Raiders have 11 total picks in the 2026 NFL Draft, which, if you look, a lot of picks there in the top 4 rounds, which I do think is a really good way to get this team going in the right direction. I know that NFL free agency is tomorrow, and if you're looking for live free agency coverage, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be going live at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour before the legal tampering period. And then, if you're also looking for draft content, lots and lots of draft content is going to be coming out here from this channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. And if you don't enjoy this show after a week, you can unsubscribe. It's absolutely free. Let's go to number 5 here. We're going to start with the defensive players since the Raiders decided to trade away Maxx. I decided to look here at the defensive players first. We're going to work our way from 5 all the way down to 1. Jermod McCoy, cornerback from Tennessee, is where I'm going to kick this thing off. And you got to look at the 2024 tape because 2024, this guy was absolutely, and I mean absolutely unbelievable. I was going to say the numbers that you see over there are from 24. He didn't play last season due to an ACL injury, but the tape for the Volunteers, 6 foot, 193 pounds, he can do so many different things for you, and he would be the Raiders' number 1 corner on this roster right now. I love his ball skills. You can see that he's got speed, movement, like he can go down the field with a receiver. He can move on intermediate routes. I think he's really, really good in press man. He can get the job done in zone, but if you're looking for a playmaker, a kid that plays with a lot of confidence on the outside and somebody that always loves a good challenge, Jermod McCoy is absolutely positively a player to keep in mind, but I know there will be some dudes that are a little bit afraid to take him at this current spot because he didn't play last year. Turn on the 2024 tape. That's no doubt a top 15 pick in my personal opinion. Let's go to number 4 here on my list for targets at 14. I'm going to go with C.J. Allen. And what people really got to realize when I do shows like this, I actually think Jermod McCoy is probably a better overall prospect than C.J. Allen. But I believe because the Raiders are going to a 3-4 defense now with Rob Leonard, and we got a lot of needs at that linebacker position, that's actually a bigger spot than corner. I also wonder, could the Raiders potentially bring back an Eric Stokes? Obviously, I'm filming draft targets before free agency. I kind of wish that the draft actually would happen before NFL free agency. But C.J. Allen is a tackling machine, and I love linebackers from Georgia. 87 tackles last season with the Dogs, 6'1", 235 pounds, 8 tackles for loss. One of the things that I'm really going to be looking at, and one of the things that I think this organization needs to look at, when you move on from a leader and Maxx, I need more leaders in the locker room. And Georgia ranted and raved about his character, his leadership, how he was great in terms of communicating, and I do think that he would be the Las Vegas Raiders' green dot Mike linebacker because he can step up and he can stop the run. He can also break back into coverage when he needs to. It needs a little bit of work, but like what linebacker coming out of college doesn't usually need a little bit of work in terms of the coverage game? He's got elite effort. You combine that with elite instincts, he's going to be a reliable pro. And I know that there's a lot of fans out there that for the Raiders, I feel that way. You know, we've seen a lot of first-round picks not work out in our way. So a lot of times, like I look at, is this guy a safe pick? C.J. Allen at pick 14. It might be a little bit earlier than where I think ultimately he might go. But you're looking for a reliable, really reliable linebacker, C.J. Allen is going to be that name. Let's go to number 3 here on my targets on defense. I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn. The more and more I watch this kid, the more I like him. Also, the more that you kind of hear about him. And I bring that up because I would say one of my top risers from the combine was Falk. And having the opportunity to go to Indianapolis, having the opportunity to talk to GMs, coaches, other people that I just really respect in this industry, one of the number one guys that people were like, dude, you got to keep an eye on, because, again, we were talking about Maxx Crosby replacements for weeks. You moved on from the Condor. Why not go out and get a guy that's 6'6", 285 pounds, a versatile edge that I do think fits really good in a 3-4. He can put his hand in the dirt. He can stand up on the outside. And it's hard to replace Max's effort. You notice I said it with C.J. Allen. I'm going to say it again here with Falk because guys, the coaching staff, love the character. They love his work ethic. And when you combine the upside that he has with that work ethic, I think Keldrick Falk is an extremely sneaky player to be a really dominant edge in the league for a long time. I was talking to somebody at the Combine, and he said, you know what I think that Kendrick Falk's going to end up turning into? Carlos Dunlap. And I loved Carlos Dunlap when he was playing with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's got really good bend, and I can remember Mike Mayock talking about Maxx Crosby's bend when he was coming out of Eastern Michigan. Great bend. He moves extremely easily. Fluid motion, no wasted steps. The potential is high with Keldrick Falk here at number 3. Let's go to the number 2 target here for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this is kind of where I get into the area of I don't really know if he's going to be here, but I had to put him on the show because I did think there was at least somewhat of a chance. Mansour Delane. And Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU, is the number 1 cornerback prospect in this year's draft. And I'm not saying that there's any disregard to McCoy, but it's not close to me. I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to let Delane pass by them at number 12 based on what Tom Downey has told me, based on some of that team needs. But at 6 foot, 190 pounds, 43 tackles last season for the Tigers, 11 PBUs, 2 interceptions. He can match up and win against every style of wide receiver. X, Z, slot, doesn't matter. He lines up well against tight ends. He lines up, if you need him to, probably against a running back that's running the wheel route. But 6 interceptions in the past 2 seasons. He makes plays as a ball hawk. He makes plays as a corner. He loves to be able to tackle. I mean, the more and more I watch Delane, the more, I'm telling you this right now, if he's there at 14, it's going to take a lot of power for me personally to not want the Raiders to go this route. I don't think that he's going to be there. But if you want a true do-it-all cornerback that went up against SEC talent, that went up against his own very good talent at LSU, this guy's an unbelievable player. But coming in here at number 1, the number 1 player I want the Raiders to target at 14, I'm going to go with Ruben Bain Jr., edge from Miami. Just like I said about Delane, I don't think Ruben Bain is going to make it here, but from being at the NFL Combine, one of the biggest knocks on Bain is his short arms. And, excuse me, he had the shortest arms at the NFL Combine. Like, people are really concerned about it. Apparently, there was also like a few little medical things that popped up where this was a dude that if you turn on the tape and you look at the tape alone, top 5 player in this year's draft. I'm not worried about him. 6'3", 275 pounds, 51 tackles, 10 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. I mean, this dude is an unbelievable football player. He's thick like a brick. He's got those short little T-Rex arms, but he's got a thick lower half. I stood right next to Ruben Bain, actually on an escalator near the NFL Combine, and he kind of looked like he was, he didn't even like cut his hair, I remember, and he was just all about football, all about ball. The tape, though, it's littered with dominance. He's disruptive in the run game. He's disruptive in the pass game. He's just wreaking havoc. It didn't matter. I mean, did you see the national championship game? Ruben Bain in the college football playoffs was unbelievable. He's a lot better in the run, I personally think, but he's also just a dog in general on defense. And when you lose Max, you get a defensive end, you get an edge rusher, you get a dog. People can talk about the combine. People can talk about his short arms all they want. I take football tape and a good football player who's always in the right spot at the right time over what you do with the underwear Olympics. Ruben Bain Jr. might fall because he didn't have the best combine. Turn on the tape. That's a top 5 player in this year's draft. So let me know down below. You get to play here. John Spytek, play general manager for the Las Vegas Raiders. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. So The Raiders traded away Maxx. You got the 14th pick in this year's draft, a first-round pick in next year's draft. Who do you want the Las Vegas Raiders to take 14 this year in the draft? This answer obviously is going to change for me, and I really wanted to be able to show that to fans because it's fully depending on what they do in free agency. If you're the Raiders, you take Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall, but I also will want to be very clear. I wouldn't mind the Raiders trading back. I'm saying that today on March 8th when I look at our laundry list of team needs and free agency in the draft. I'm team trade back, maybe get an extra first and a second round pick. But what I do know is this. Whoever at 14 is got to be an instant impact starter. Got to be somebody that we know we can play right away, especially if the rumors are true that maybe Mendoza doesn't start in the very first year. But whoever you take, if it was up to me, if you don't get a certain position in free agency, like let's say the Raiders swing and miss on wide receiver. Let's say the Raiders swing and miss on offensive line. Let's say the Raiders swing and miss on outside linebacker edge. Because you're going to go quarterback with Mendoza, whatever you think your other biggest need is entering the draft, that's personally where I would look to go at 14. I did want to throw out some other names here of just not happening at 14. I guess I could put Fernando Mendoza on this list. He's going to be number 1. But other names that I just did not feature on this show because they're not going to be there like Jeremiah Love, even if he's there, the Raiders aren't going to take him at 14. But Arvell Reese, Sony Styles, Caleb Downs, a lot of Ohio State talent, David Bailey, Jeremiah Love, these are all picks that I just forecast seeing going into the top 10. But if any one of these players outside of Jeremiah Love is available to the Raiders at 14, you can put them number 1 on my list. Coming up next here, though, let's look at the offensive targets for the Silver and Black at that 14th overall pick because we need offensive line help. Fernando Mendoza needs a true number 1 receiver to be able to throw to in case the price tags on Rashid Shaheed and Alex Pierce are high. And if you didn't follow me, or if you don't follow me on social media, I put a report out today from Fowler in regards to Pierce and Shaheed. If you haven't checked it out, you need to go check it out. Also, something you need to go check out. Raiders Report gear, chatsports.com/RR shop. If you don't know what the RR and Raiders Report shop stands for, I think I just told you. Whether you need a hat, whether you need a shirt, any type of gear you need, I promise you, we will get you covered. If you bought a weird Kubiak shirt, I'm working on it, okay? Working on getting you guys a new updated look. Obviously, Max was on our Kubiak shirts, but if you need an awesome draft shirt, if you want the shirt that we gave Fernando Mendoza, literally this is the shirt right here. If you're a Raiders Report fan, if you're a Raiders fan, if you appreciate the family that we've been able to create here, chatsports.com, RR shop. Need a Raiders Report hat? $24.99. Let's go to the offensive side of the football this time, and in the exact same way, we're going to work away from 5 down to 1. Spencer Fano, offensive lineman from Utah. I actually saw him up close in person, and it kind of reminded me when I met Colton Miller at my wing competitive eating contest a few years ago, where I was just like, how is this guy a human being? Like, how are we? Like, the way that I picture a Chihuahua looks at a Great Dane is how I looked at Spencer Fano and Colton Miller. Like, why do I feel like I'm 10 years old and a toddler? Should I be in the Little League World Series? But, like, he's just so big. 6'6", 308, very wide frame, thick shoulders. I know, there's probably some giggities in there. He played left tackle his first season at Utah, final 2 seasons at right tackle. I could also see him being shifted to offensive guard, and I got to give Fano a lot of credit. Actually, at the NFL Combine, there were some teams that were working him out or just, like, wanted to see what he could do at center. I am under the impression that he is up for the challenge to play all 5 positions on the offensive line. That's extremely intriguing to me. He's got unbelievable strength. I love watching Utah offensive linemen because they play that FU football, and that's what I want to be able to bring to the table here with this Klint Kubiak offense. Like, you want to get Ashton Genty this ground game going, you bring in a guy like Fano with that strength, the quickness. He really bullies players, and he does. Like, he's going to let you know that he just whooped you on that freaking rep. Great effort on every snap. I absolutely, positively love the upside of Spencer Fano, especially with our brand new Raiders offensive line coach, Rick Dennison. Rick Dennison is going to get a lot out of these guys. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver from USC. There was some people that were concerned about how the NFL Combine went. I'm not going to be one of those people. From someone who was actually there, looking at him in the eyes of the podium, I just saw a receiver that was very locked in, and based on what I've heard and from people that I've met that are from, like, where he's from, that's just how people are. And again, like, whether you agree with the way somebody talks, whether you don't, I don't really give a shit. What I like to see is a football player. And Makai Lemon is a football player. 5'11", 195 pounds. He's best in the slot. He wins with quickness. He can run an entire full route tree. He's built like a linebacker. He's tough, dude. Like, you don't see wide receivers that have this type of mentality, that are this just physically tough, like, mindset of, I'm going to run through your mother effing face. Like, seriously, I mean, this is the guy where I'm telling you right now, you want him to run out of bounds, he ain't going to run out of bounds. Like, he's going to want to try to take you on and take you out. He did say at the Combine that he believed that he plays a lot like Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver from the Detroit Lions. You look at a lot of NFL draft analysts out there, they'll say the exact same thing. If I can get an Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you told me right now, lock it in, that's going to be your player for the type of offense that we run, and for a quarterback like Mendoza, sign me the F up with a little Makai Lemon. Let's go to number 3 here, and I'm really been studying this name, Olivavenga Ioane. We're going to call him Venga, which is his nickname, and dominant left guard at Penn State. Remember how earlier I said, about C.J. Allen being a reliable player? I think out of all the guys I'm going to show you on the show, he might not have the highest upside, but I do think his floor is probably the safest. 6'4", 330 pounds, and he's a bowling ball. He's the type of guy, like when I was a kid and I used to play Halo with my friends, when I would obviously kill one of the guys like on Halo, I would teabag him. Venga, when he's out there blocking, he wants you to know that he's going to embarrass you, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he tried to drop a little pancake teabag on you, because he plays with just insane power and insane strength. Like, you put him next to JPJ, these guys are going to have a lot of fun. You put JPJ, Tyler Linderbaum, and Venga on an interior offensive line, Ashton Genty, I'm going to tell y'all right now, is going to run for over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. He is an elite run blocker. He's still really good against pass protection, though he can get beat from time to time against speedy edge rushers, especially guys that have like a good inside spin move, which is something that I saw from the Nittany Lions. You got to love the toughness. You got to love the mindset. And again, I believe one of the safest picks in the NFL draft this upcoming season. Let's go to another offensive lineman here. It's going to be Francis Mauigoa, the right tackle from Miami. Another player, and here's the thing about the offensive lineman, like Spencer Fano, played right tackle, could be an offensive guard. Francis Mauigoa played right tackle. Some people think that he might also end up being a guard because some of these shorter arms, and I do think sometimes teams react in NFL like it's all recency bias. And I do wonder if people saw Will Campbell, and Will Campbell was this great offensive tackle prospect, short T-Rex arms. You saw him struggle in certain situations where I think if you kick Campbell inside, he's going to be a really good guard. And I almost wonder if Mauigoa is that same thing. But basically what I said about Ruben Bain, I feel the exact same way about Mauigoa. When I turn on the tape, I see a really good right tackle. He's big. You can see the high football IQ. He can get upfield when he needs to. Powerful right tackle, a 2025 team captain, which you know is important to almost every single organization out there. He is a better run blocker than he is in terms of pass protection. I like his footwork. I think he has good anchor. My biggest knock, and I mean the biggest knock on Mauigoa, he leans. So sometimes he loses like that center of gravity, and he gets pushed back from time to time when he goes up against other people that are really big and strong. Like, you got to be able to face the facts here. Mauigoa, growing up his entire life, was probably always the biggest, baddest mother effer that he went up against. Well, now he's about to go up against NFL talent on a consistent basis. He's got to be able to fix that lean, because if he doesn't fix the lean, I will get concerned. But again, I believe in Rick Dennison. I believe in Mauigoa as an overall prospect, and I do really think that he would be an outstanding player for the Las Vegas Raiders. But let's go to number 1 on my list here for the silver and black, and the number 1 player that I want the Raiders to go out and get? Carnell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State. Do I believe that Tate is going to be available to the Raiders here at 14? No, I really don't. I see him being a top 10 pick. I look at him as the number 1 overall wide receiver in this year's class. 6'3", 195 pounds. Last season for the Buckeyes, I know a lot of attention went on Jeremiah Smith, but I'm telling you right now, Tate, his route tree, he's so fun, and I'm going to throw out a name because when I watch him, he reminds me of Devontae Adams. Now, their body's not very similar. I think Tate needs to add a few extra pounds, but you know when you watch Devontae play, he's not like this outstanding athlete, and I'm not going to say that Tate's not this like outstanding athlete either. He also kind of reminds me a little bit of a CeeDee Lamb where they're just so smooth. There's no wasted motion. They're going to win in that route. Like, he's going to make you look bad because he's going to set it up. Like JSN, when Jackson Smith-Njigba goes out there and he does this thing, again, he's not this like insane athlete. He's just super smart, can set everything up, reliable, strong hands, back shoulder. He can do almost everything that you're looking for from a wide receiver standpoint. Again, needs to add a little bit of weight, but he almost lulls guys to sleep because he sets you up, and then all of a sudden, he's by you. But it's because that he is just a route technician and because there's no wasted motion. I love watching Carnell Tate play, and I do wonder, because of the robust wide receiver market, if these receivers are getting paid like $27, $28 million, could the Raiders say, you know what, I'd rather spend big on the offensive line and wait to draft a wide receiver now that we have the 14th pick in the NFL draft? I did want to throw out some other honorable mentions here. Kenyon Sadiq, I love watching him. I mean, I'll tell you this. If we had Brock Bowers, Kenyon Sadiq, and Michael Mayer, that'd probably be the greatest 3 tight end trio of all time. But then again, like, I don't know. Can Bowers play number 1 at receiver? Omar Cooper Jr. deserves to be on this list. I spoke to Cooper at the Combine, would obviously love the opportunity to play with Mendoza again. And the more and more I watch Omar, I talk to him about, like, NFL comps. He loved the comp of a better version of Jacoby Myers. Could you get that style of player? Monroe Freeling played a lot of left tackle at Georgia. If the Raiders were to go crazy and trade away Colton Miller to get even more capital, Monroe Freeling would be the player that I look at. He might actually have the highest upside out of all these offensive tackles, or Max, I can never pronounce his name, Henachor? This is another big-time combine riser, and I mean extreme upside at the offensive tackle position. And then another dude I'll throw in there, Caden Proctor. But as you can see, lots and lots of offensive line potential at 14 if the Raiders don't love what they're coming out with here from free agency. So, y'all, I did want to throw in more honorable mentions here on the defensive side of the football. Caleb Banks, defensive tackle from Florida, is my personal top DT. Just an outstanding athlete. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety from Toledo. Really like his availability in terms of where you can use him on a field. You can throw him out in a bunch of different spots. A little bit of a risk there. Akeem Messidor, another edge. I think actually he could slide to 36 based on some of the age concerns. Dylan Theneman, safety from Oregon. And then Caden McDonald. These are players that I deserve to talk about. Wanted to mention them as honorable mentions. So instead of just 10 prospects, I wanted to give you 20 to at least just sit back, chew on a little bit. But that's why I want you to subscribe to the Raiders Report. You will become a smarter fan. So my top 5 players on offense: Spencer Fano, Makai Lemon, Venga, Francis Mauinova, Carnell Tate. And then on defense to help replace Max, Jeremiah McCoy, C.J. Allen, Keldrick Folk, Mansour Delane, and Ruben Bain Jr. If you appreciate the content that we provide here on the Raiders Report, I promise you this, you're really going to love our live NFL draft coverage. I've made 5,400 shows. I've gone live a bunch. I really, truly believe the biggest show that I will ever do in the history of the Raiders Report, day 1 of the NFL draft. Pull up. It's going to be wild. And if you bleed silver and black, join the Raiders Report family and celebrate a great, great day for the nation.